Hi guys, I'm Avi.
And I'm Terry.
We're a dad
and daughter, and we're watching, reviewing, and ranking every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie leading up to Avengers Endgame. In this episode, Avi and I will be discussing Captain America: Civil War, which was released in 2016. It was directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, also known as the Russo brothers. It stars Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, and basically everybody else. It had a budget of $250 million and a box office of $1.15 billion. Avi, before we get into our likes, dislikes, your favorite character, whatnot, what were your overall thoughts of Captain America: Civil War?
It's the best movie I've ever seen.
The best movie you've ever seen. Could you elaborate a little?
Well, it has every single Avenger. And some that aren't Avengers. Like Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man. It was very exciting, and it was cool to see them fighting against each other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to agree with you. It is, as I've said multiple times during this review, up until this point, and we haven't yet seen Endgame, up until this point, it is my current number one on my Marvel rankings, and for all the reasons that you just mentioned. It's basically an Avengers movie.
Yep.
It's the best Captain America movie. It might be the best Iron Man movie. You get almost all of the Avengers. I would just correct that Thor and Hulk are not in this, but you get everybody else.
Yes, you're right. Sorry about that.
But you're right. You get Spider-Man, you get Black Panther, you get all of that other stuff. So, and we'll talk more about that as we get into it. So before we dive into this a little bit more, though, I have one question for you, Av.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Cap or hashtag Team Tony?
Hashtag Team Cap.
Why?
Because I really like Captain America.
Yeah?
That's it.
And what about based on their arguments? Which one do you agree with based on what they're arguing?
Team Cap.
Why?
Well, I just said Team Cap again. Because I think he has the best idea, because just like Spider-Man said, like, when you can do the things I can and you don't do them and people get hurt, then it's all your fault, because you could have saved them. So, and Tony's saying that they should sign the, what are they called?
Sokovia Accords.
The Sokovia Accords.
Right.
So that they don't have these things happening anymore. But more people will probably die.
Right.
If you don't do this.
And Cap is basically saying the safest hands are our own, is what he says.
You have to fight. If you don't fight,
right.
nothing's going to happen.
Right.
He's just going to kill everyone.
And if they leave it up to the UN or whoever, they might not be, and Cap says something about they might not let us go where we need to, or they might send us somewhere we don't want to be. Yeah. I'm just going to circle back because I, too, am hashtag Team Cap. I have gone back and forth on this a little bit over time. Initially, when I watched the movie, I thought Cap was being a little stubborn, but the more I've thought about it, I think Tony's really acting from a place of emotion, and he's letting emotions dictate his decisions, and I think Cap is ultimately right. I think, and you and I talked about this a little bit when we were watching the movie, I paused the movie at one point. I think when Peter says to Tony what you just said, when you can do the things that I can and you don't, and the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Yeah.
And Tony gets this look on his face like, oh my God, Cap is right.
Yeah. But he can't stop
right.
now.
At that point, they're too far gone, and he needs to stop Cap from doing any more damage.
Yeah.
But I think Tony realizes Cap was right.
Cap was right.
Peter basically makes the Captain America argument in that scene.
And if Peter wasn't, like, friends with Tony, he would probably be on Cap's side.
Cap, right. Absolutely. Who's your favorite character, Av?
Scarlet Witch.
Why?
Because it was nice to see the thing going on with Scarlet Witch and Vision. Mm-hmm. And she's just my favorite female superhero.
Cool. See, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a little forced, the little romance between her and Vision. But now that we've seen Infinity War, it to me it's so much better. Like watching them sort of starting to fall in love a little bit.
Yeah, like when he says, neither did I. Like, Tony was like, I didn't know that you got distracted.
Yeah.
And Vision's like, neither did I.
Right, but obviously, like, he was in love and he was worried about Wanda.
Yeah.
My favorite character in this, and this has been after some reflection, is Steve. And I'm going to call my reason for that. It's not my favorite scene, but I'm going to call it. I'm calling it biceps, biceps, biceps.
Biceps.
That freaking helicopter scene is unbelievable. I almost was like, did they CG in those biceps? No, they're just Chris Evans' his guns.
Guns.
So my favorite character is Steve in this, and I'm hashtag Team Cap. Who's your least favorite character?
Ross.
Which one?
I don't know. The one at the end.
You don't like the one who's like teasing Zemo at the
Yeah.
end? That's Everett
Wait,
Ross.
no, not him. The guy who's got the Sokovia Accords.
Thunderbolt Ross. Do you remember
Yeah.
him from? He was in Incredible Hulk. He's the one
Yeah.
who was ordering the attack on.
Really?
That's him.
Oh,
That's-
that makes it even worse.
That's Betty's dad, Thunderbolt Ross. She's Betty Ross. So
okay.
your least favorite Ross is Thunderbolt Ross, the one who's trying to force them to sign
Yeah.
the Sokovia Accords.
But I also don't like the other guy.
My least favorite character, I said Ross and Ross.
Ross and Ross.
I will take the other one. I don't like Everett Ross. First of all, there's only like maybe 30 characters in this movie. You couldn't have given one of these guys a different last name so it's not confusing. Why are they both last name Ross? I mean, I understand that in the world there's like lots of Smiths and whatever, but in a movie, isn't it kind of confusing that there's two Rosses? Is he his uncle? Or are they father and son? I don't know. Why leave the last name the same? So I don't like Ross, and spoiler alerts for Black Panther, he might be my least favorite character in that one too. So I'm going Everett Ross. You went Thunderbolt Ross. Either way, we don't like the Rosses. Avi,
Nope.
what's your favorite scene in this movie?
I wrote the double side scene.
Yeah, and what do you mean by the double side scene?
When you have Cap's team and Tony's team, but right before they're about to go in, and when Peter Parker goes, they're not stopping. You know that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene.
I am going to put a video on. We're talking here.
Why?
Because my youth was spent watching a little show called The X-Men.
The
I
X-Men?
grew up on Marvel, the X-Men cartoon show.
Marvel,
and
the X-Men.
I'm going to play a little bit of music here for our audience, and hopefully you can hear this.
Previously on X-Men.
This opening scene ends with two sides running at each other. Let me fast forward the video a little bit. This was my whole childhood. And every time I see that airport scene, this is what I think of. Two sides running at each other. And so for me, I freaking love that airport scene.
Do you think they were trying to make it look like
I
that?
don't know if that was their intention or not, but for me, it was like that. The airport scenes are like 18 minutes. It was like 18 minutes of my whole childhood, watching all of my toys fight against each other.
Really?
I put for my favorite scene the airport, but I will give that one to you, and I will choose instead the one that we already talked about with Peter when Peter Parker says to Tony, when you can do the things that I can do and you don't, and the bad things happen, they happen because of you. I cannot tell you how happy I was that this movie did not do the Uncle Ben with great power comes great responsibility thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it in Homecoming either. But basically what Peter's saying in that scene is, with great power comes great responsibility. If you have the ability to do something good and you don't, and bad happens, it happens because you didn't do anything. And like you said, Tony in that moment is realizing, holy cow, I think
Cap was
Cap
right.
was right. What's your least favorite scene of?
My least favorite scene is when is his name Helmet Zemo?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it Helmet Zemo though?
His first name's Helmet.
Helmet?
Yeah, it's a German name.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's like a European name.
Okay, it's so weird.
Not like the thing you wear in your head. It's spelled differently.
Okay.
HELMUT. Helmet.
Oh, okay. When he goes, is it right at the end?
Yeah.
When other Ross is talking about is like making fun of him at the end.
Yeah.
When he says,
like-
is it?
Yeah. He's like, move, zap, touch the glass, zap. How does it feel to know you did all this and you lost?
And he's like,
yeah.
and
There was all a failure or whatever.
and he goes, is it?
Yeah.
I just thought it was a weird scene.
I will say, Av, I know you and I talked about this a little bit before we came up with our lists, which we're not supposed to do, but we cheated.
Yeah.
I don't have a least favorite scene.
What? It's the only one I could think
I
of.
couldn't
I'm
think of
sorry.
anything. To me, this is my favorite Marvel movie. There is no wasted time in this movie.
Yeah, I thought this was an okay scene.
Yep.
It's just the only scene that.
Sure, and I think that's totally fair. Every single scene serves the plot in this movie. Every single detail is paid off, And to me, there was no wasted time. We watched a couple other Marvel movies where I feel like there's some stuff where I'm like, man, they're getting into the weeds here. I'm a little bored in the middle. There is no bored in the middle with this movie to me.
No, I thought it was all good.
I will tell. Can I tell the audience? Avi and I watched this in the car on a vacation, and after watching it, Avi almost immediately asked if she could watch it again because she was so into it.
Yeah.
Before we rank this bad boy,
And I could watch it again.
Yeah, I know I could watch it right now. Before we rank this bad boy, let's talk about the post credits. We get two of them. We get Bucky in Wakanda getting frozen, and T'Challa saying basically, we're going to keep him safe, and if anyone wants to come and take him, let them try. And then the second post-credits scene is Spider-Man. He's telling Aunt May, I got beat up by a guy named Steve from Brooklyn. I got a black eye. And he's
he's not wrong.
He's totally right. And he says, you should have seen this one guy. He was totally huge, talking about Giant Man. And then
he's not lying.
And then he messes with the web shooter and he projects the Spider-Man mask onto the ceiling. So those are our post-credit scenes. Let's talk about rankings. Here's where we stand as of right now. We've ranked 12 movies. From worst to best, they are number 12, Thor the Dark World. Number 11, The Incredible Hulk. Number 10, Thor. Number 9, Ant-Man. Number 8, Iron Man. Number 7, Iron Man 3. Number 6, The Avengers. Number 5, Iron Man 2. Number 4, The Avengers Age of Ultron. Number 3, Captain America the First Avenger. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. And number 1, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Avienda Gilmore, where are you ranking Captain America Civil War?
Number 12. I'm just kidding. Number 1.
We're putting it number 1, baby. Captain America Civil War. Which means you now, Av, have all 3 Cap movies in your top 4. The only one that's breaking up the bunch is Guardians, which I agree, Guardians was really, really good.
Because Captain America's my favorite.
So that means that as of right now, our rankings stand. Number 1, Captain America Civil War. Number 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dad.
Number 4,
we just told them
Captain America the First Avenger. I know we gotta go top to bottom. Number 5, The Avengers Age of Ultron. Number 6, Iron Man 2. Number 7, The Avengers. Number 8, Iron Man 3. Number 9, Iron Man. Number 10, Ant-Man. Number 11, Thor. Number 12, The Incredible Hulk. And number 13, still at the bottom, Thor the Dark World. In our next episode, Avi and I will be watching, reviewing, and ranking. Let me see where we are. Doctor Strange. We are getting there, Av. We're in phase 3. We're almost done. Until then, you guys, adios.
Adios.
Have a marvelous day.